Hi everybody, want to make a quick video here. So I have a couple different projects in mind I need your guys' help with. I will quickly go over some context before I go into the actual projects themselves. So my helmet, I'm getting that one squared away. I will go into that at a different point. That's not today's video. Focus on today's video. And I will show you guys what I do with that. So keep in mind, this is basically my militia Minutemen setup, whatever you want to call it. So basically, I'm going to start building up my IFAC pretty soon. While I have the cash, I might as well get it figured out. And with a lower source of income, which I'm figuring all that out. Like I said, it's just difficult to get things built out. So anyway, I'm going to build up the IFAC myself instead of just buying a complete one. But if I do find a complete one, like an IFAC 2 at a surplus store for like a really cheap price, I'm talking like $60, and it's complete and the person don't know what they got, absolute deal, obviously I'll grab it. Even if it's just $80, you can't complain because 2 tourniquets is already going to be $60. Anyway, so with my harness, I'm going to go over what I want to do with that in just a moment. But this right here is the rifle setup I want to go with an ar15. Also, this is an M4. Or well, I believe that's an ar15 because these are just clones. Anyway, I want to go with an ar15 with an ACOG. Iron sights, probably more like that right there. But if I have to throw them on the side for up close, and so be it. Whatever budget brands you guys would recommend for both of those that are proven to be good, I'd appreciate it. Also, with the foregrips or vertical grips, I'm probably going to go with the foregrip personally, just because I feel like I could have better control of a rifle with that. But whatever, I just want to see different people's opinions on this, because I want to go with a primarily mid to long range setup, basically what the military would go with, as I know that it works. It's not the best out there, but I've got to think on a budget here. And so obviously, just if you guys got any way to help me out with that, I appreciate it. So basically, the overall AR build, I would like some information on recommended budget, uppers, lowers, different triggers, things like that. Obviously, I want this thing to be semi-automatic, even though I technically could have a forced reset. I believe in Tennessee they're legal. I've not checked, but we're usually very open-minded on guns here, other than select few officials that don't know what they're doing. Anyway, I'm figuring out what I want to go with, but I want you guys' recommendations so that way I can build it out on a budget. I would like to keep it within the $500 range, just for the rifle and the basics. And then, of course, I might throw a bit more for a side, obviously. But I want to just focus primarily on the training and getting the bear rifle set up. So even though it means just a basic AR with a foregrip and irons, and so be it for now. And then I can get the scope, everything else later. So any recommendations for any of that, guys, I'd appreciate it. Let me move over to the other thing real quick. Alright, so anyway, like I was saying, still working the AR, and any recommendations are appreciated. That's kind of the whole point in today's video. So this is kind of what I go with for my Defensor Fortress H gear. And I will figure out body armor like a slick plate carrier at another time. I'd rather have an IFAC and training before I go to get body armor, because the hope is I don't have to use any of this in real world situation anyway. So I want to go with like scaled down version of that right there on the front of my gear. If you guys have any recommendations, I'd appreciate it. I do not know what that drop leg or whatever that panel is that he's using is. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's off the Special Forces load carrying system. Just based off the color scheme of it, that's what I think it might have been off of. But I'm unsure. But I did want a scaled down version. I want to be able to go prone easier. And that one's not as bulky. That would stick out about as much as my lower mag pouches. But I don't want anything to interfere with anything. So if you guys have any recommendations, I'd appreciate it. The pouch I used there is Condor. I don't know if I mentioned that. And I'm probably end up going like a more flat military issue one. And I'm basically just going to use it for like 2 small notebooks, a few pencils, maybe a map. So nothing, super big or anything. And I do actually have the pistol belt set up, which is probably where I'll carry my bayonet. And if you guys have any recommendations on how to get a, like what kind of bayonet lug I should get for an M7 bayonet, and how to get it on an AR-15. Obviously, I check the gun laws in Tennessee for that and everything. I check it before I buy anything, absolutely. But this is primarily just for messing around on a range or whatever. Preferably never have to use any of this. But anyway, that's kind of the idea, guys. If you guys have any recommendations, I'd appreciate them. I know I said it 20 times, but I do. Anyway, so I'm going to figure all this stuff out, what I want to do, and I'll end up showing you guys once everything's done. I'll show you all what I figured out. Even if I don't have all the rifle mags and the IFAK built out, I'll at least have this right here. The base combat setup done. Currently, I have 3 rifle mags for AR, M4, M16, any of that kind of platform. And I have a single AK mag, which was a cheap $15 one. It's like a Korean-made one. And it's based out of West Virginia, like the company or whatever, if I remember right. Anyway, so I will basically be carrying 8 mags in the front of my LBV. I'm not going to have a whole lot of water on my person. A lot of my water is going to go in my bag. And the reason for that is because I want to be able to keep everything I'm going to need to get to on my harness, and it's very limited space. And basically my water would be in my bag, but I would have a limited amount of water on my person. I do not like a hydration bladder. I'm afraid that they'll bust more than a canteen will if they get hit in any kind of way. So me personally, that's just my preference. Now, absolutely they could be used to carry water, but to drink from, I wouldn't do it. So anyway, I'm figuring all that setup out. Anybody who's been doing this for a long time, if any of you guys want to put your thoughts in below, I'd appreciate them. And I noticed a lot of people didn't comment on my shotgun and 22 rig. Which honestly surprised me with how many people looked at it. But also that was a multi-purpose setup for the shotgun. But anyway, that was basically it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Any questions, comments, anything, just leave them below. Thank you all and God bless. Have a great day.